Today, what are you most thankful for? Well, I have to say my family, certainly. I'm a part of a super tight family, really close-knit, 3 teenage daughters, my wife, my parents, my brother. We are really close. So I think that is what I'm thankful for every day.
I'm most thankful for my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister, my wife, my children, and now a big thanks for my grandchildren.
Goals for individuals are with individualistic ideals. Maybe we want more or something different or better for ourselves, but how can externalizing some of these goals also help with relationships?
Yeah, I feel like relationships are the highest form of mindfulness practice. It teaches us so much about ourselves and the other person. And I think it's really important for us to always own 100% of our 50%. Relationships are reciprocal. And I think a lot of the times it's easier for us to state our wants, our needs, our desires, but how often do we put ourselves in the other's position? How do I be a better partner? How do I show up in a more loving way? How can I be more kind? How can I be more attentive? So I think it's really important for everybody to always take responsibility, take ownership, and show up wholeheartedly to your 50%, 100% of your 50%.
So let's say someone wants to work on their relationships, whether it's romantic relationships, friendship, or family, etc. How do you start having the conversation with your client who wants to work on those relationships? Where does that conversation start?
I have 3 things that I like to say at the beginning of having this kind of conversation. The first is that you really want to be clear about what is safe, meaning that you create an environment that is safe for you to be emotionally vulnerable. So you want to look at what do you need from the other person in order to feel safe and communicate that. What do you need from your environment in which you're having the conversation? Do you need to have things that are like the dog is put up, the kids are asleep? And the third thing is what do you need to provide safety for yourself? Do you need to make sure you're rested and you're not hungry? Do you need to make sure that you're not feeling stressed in order to bring your best self to that conversation and to the thought process of what you want to have changed? Sometimes we think that if we dance around something or we're careful with our words, that's actually going to get us more what we want, and it doesn't. You need to be clear and concise. You also, and the third thing is you need to realize it's a give and take. So you bring yourself to the table, you be a person that other person can feel safe enough to bring themselves to the conversation. And then you get to decide what's right for your relationship, not what everyone else says. The two of you together get to decide what you need and want.
We can be our own worst enemy when it comes to thinking about what's possible for us to achieve. The psychological baggage that we bring to the table can really hold us back from achieving the things that we want to in life. And if we have a negative mindset, if we just think to ourselves, I'm not capable of doing this, this isn't possible for me, we actually do see more negative things around us than somebody else might who has a more positive mindset. So seeing is doing, seeing is believing. If we feel like we're not making the progress that we hope for ourselves, one of the things that we might do is try to change our mindset first, because our perceptual experiences and then our beliefs in what's possible can follow from that. So when we're looking at another person, it's really hard to read their reactions. But our knee-jerk thoughts about what are they thinking, what are they feeling, how am I coming across to them, can be really important for what happens next in that conversation. I think an important thing to keep in mind is that we can all read people in different ways, and that may or may not line up with what they're actually trying to show us. What we found in our own research is that oftentimes the nonverbals that people are giving us, their emotional reactions that are showing up on their faces, are multifaceted. They're actually feeling and showing a lot of different emotions all at one time, and yet we may only read one thing in their face. And in fact, what we found is that that's sort of like a personality characteristic. When I look at somebody and even though I know that there's more than one thing that they could be trying to tell me with what they're showing on their face, we often read just one reaction. If people have a tendency to see the negative in other people's emotional expressions, that actually sets up that interaction for conflict. It can be more challenging to work through the difficult conversations that we're having with people and to feel an emotional recovery after we've done that hard work of moving through that conflict. But there's another thing that we can see. There's another way to read people's faces. If we look for the positivity, if we look for the signs of happiness or acceptance or the small smiles, even if they don't last that long, we can set up those interpersonal conversations for success. People recover faster from conflict when they give each other the benefit of the doubt and not only assume that someone's thinking the best, but do that work to try to see it as well. Oftentimes when we're setting goals, we might try to go about it just taking advantage of our own powers, and that might do a disservice. It could be challenging to ourselves to continue on with something that's difficult if we're only beholden to ourselves. Social support is a great tool for helping us meet our own personal goals or even those goals that we share with other people. That accountability partner, it can be really useful for helping us persevere and getting over those challenges that might otherwise lead us to throw in the towel. So finding somebody else who can share your goal, who will commit to the same goal, and who will check in with you to help monitor your progress, to be that accurate source of insight and of accountability can really help us push through the challenges that we'll have.
Someone, a neighbor or something like that, that doesn't seem to have a community, be their community. Just when I think of community, I think of engagement with other people, lively engagement. But if we are isolated and we are by ourselves and we are completely disengaged for whatever reason, that lack of community, that lack of support and really togetherness impacts us severely, especially impacts older adults. Get out and create your own community, but also if you see someone, a neighbor or something like that, that doesn't seem to have a community, be their community, be there for them. I think it's important and it's critical. And we will all see this, especially as we get older, how impactful a positive, large, supportive community is in our lives. When you think about community, the National Alliance of Mental Health really breaks it down beautifully into categories. There are 3, according to them, and I endorse this 100%: belonging, support, and purpose. So let's go with the first one, belonging. We all want to feel like we belong, right? We all want to feel like we're a part of something and a part of a group and a part of people that are like-minded. The second one they talk about how important it is to build your own community is support. What you want to see happen is to have people around you that can support you. Someone that, will bring a meal after you've come from the hospital, or someone that will just lend an ear, or something that is just as simple as having coffee with someone or a drink with someone, whatever makes you happy, but making sure that you have that supportive force around you. And then finally, I would say purpose. And purpose is a great one that they have categorized. A lot of times, you land up in a situation where you think you know what your purpose is. Stepping back and looking at what is my true identity? What is my authentic self? Right? And making sure that the community reflects that. Pick your community that works the best for you physically, mentally, and socially.
sense of community and a sense of being involved with friends and loved ones and family, volunteering, being a part of something bigger, plays such an unbelievably important role in our mental health and our physical health. This has come to light so profoundly in the past 5 to 6 years. A study from Harvard called the Waldinger study followed individuals for decades, and they looked at what truly made them happy over time, and guess what the answer was? It was a sense of community and a sense of being part of something bigger. Isolation, we know, causes mood issues, depression, and anxiety. It reduces our cognitive ability. Do you know that one of the best things that you can do to prevent cognitive decline as we age is to maintain healthy relationships? The truth is, being part of a community and maintaining relationships reduces the likelihood of early onset dementia. Being a part of a community and maintaining good relationships is unbelievably important for our mental health and physical health. Keep an open mind. Try to be a little bit less guarded, look for community activities, look into volunteer activities, and you'll be off to a really, really good start.
Hi, I'm Dana Taft, and I have some accountability tips for you to work out with a friend. One of my favorite things for you to do would be to grab a friend who will be your accountability partner. You guys will check in with each other and encourage one another along your journey. You want to mark your calendar and carve out time where you are going to get into your exercise. You can download an app or subscribe to a YouTube channel like Sharecare, where you can find different workouts and fitness tips to help keep you going. The next thing I want you to try and do is grab an activity tracker. This can be technology like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, but can also be a journal where you write down your activity. That activity doesn't have to be an hour. It can be as simple as 10 minutes a day where you're carving out time to get moving and working towards the goals you have set. Next, I want you to find a way to reward yourself. It might be getting a massage or even buying new workout clothes, something that will put some pep in your step to give yourself a pat on the back for doing what you've set out to do.